Welcome back to Leeds Lately. Before we get into this video, if you could just hit that big red button, that would really help me out. But today's video is about Pascal Struijk, a player who has been fantastic for us over the course of this season so far. And I just kind of wanted to talk about his redemption arc and him getting back on that trajectory to be a top centre-back. And obviously it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, the thumbnail and title, with the comparisons to Van Dijk, but he's a Dutch footballer. He did have his hair in a very similar hairstyle to Van Dijk, and he has been sort of touted as the next Van Dijk before in his past. But let's not get too carried away, and we're just going to talk about how good Pascal Struijk has been this season. And obviously, last season, we had a really tough year and a lot of Leeds players underperformed, and Pascal being one of them in that defensive backline. He was asked to play out of position a lot of times, and even when he was in position, he really didn't do a very good job. But this season, and I know it's in a lower division, but he has been incredible compared to what he was last season. And I think even Daniel Farke has made a joke to him about that, saying that him playing with this hernia injury, that if you don't know, he's gone in for surgery because he had a double hernia that he was playing with for Leeds this season and was in a great amount of pain. And Daniel Farke joked to him that you paying at 80% of yourself this season was better than 100% of yourself last season, which I don't think Pascal Struijk found too funny, because obviously it wasn't a great year for Leeds and him personally. But yeah, I think he's come on leaps and bounds. We're going to have a little bit of a look at his statistics and a little bit of a talk about why we think that is. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the relationship that him and Farke has created, really. He has been entrusted with the captaincy when Liam Cooper's not on the pitch, and Liam Cooper won't be on the pitch because it's Pascal's place, that left centre-back. So he's been entrusted with the captaincy on the field. Number one, that builds his confidence. That shows him that the manager is saying, hey, look, I've got a lot of faith in you. I think you can be a really good player for me and a really good leader. Also, he's being trusted to be the player who distributes everything at the back. And when we get into some of his statistics, that will bear out in those, and you'll be able to see what I mean by that. But I think just giving him that confidence, giving that push to say, okay, you're going to be the captain on the field. You're going to lead us out onto the pitch, and you're going to lead us from the back as well. And he does that every single game with his receiving the ball from Meslier, passing it out and progressing the ball. And we've seen many times statistic websites and other Twitter accounts who look into the statistics of things like between the lines, etc. They have tweeted quite a few times about Pascal Struijk being up there for progressive carries and progressive passes, and a lot of the other players in those would be midfielders and attackers, and Pascal obviously being a centre-back sets him aside, really. He's definitely up there with the top centre-backs in the division. When you look at who he's compared to in terms of his statistics and stuff, he's compared to people like Yannick Vestergaard, who at Leicester is obviously doing a really good job and had been a Premier League centre-back for Southampton for so many years. So it's interesting that Pascal has taken on that mantle of the captaincy and become so good this season. So we'll have a little bit of a look into his statistics now, and we'll talk about this. Now, before we get into this, percentiles, if you're in the first percentile, it means that you are in the bottom 1% of all players in similar leagues in your position over a similar amount of minutes. If you're in the 99th percentile, it means you're in the top 1%. So that's how it works, basically. So the first thing I want to talk about, and actually Jer mentioned this a few weeks ago. If you don't know Jer, that's Leeds United The View. You should know by now. He's dwarfs most of us in subscribers by now. But yeah, Jer mentioned how you look at Pascal Struijk and he's hardly ever got any mud on his kit. And that's to do with how good he is at timing and the improvements that he's made in learning where to be at the right time and reading the game. And that is a really important skill to have for a defender. And now I always make these comparisons, but it's not a direct comparison, but I'm just saying, like, the let's say the perfect example of a defender is somebody like Maldini, who rarely actually ever had to make any crunching tackles because he read the game so well that it was actually not very often where he actually had to make tackles. And most of the time he would just be intercepting the ball. And that's what we're starting to see from Pascal Struijk, obviously at a different level. But that general philosophy that you don't have to be flying in and making tackles to be a fantastic centre-back. You have to be able to read the game, and that's what Pascal's improving at. That bears out in this first statistics, which is a yellow card. 0.07 yellow cards per 90. So compared to the top five, compared to similar 5 leagues, that is, it puts him in the 91st percentile. So only 9% of all centre-backs compared to him have had less yellow cards in that time. So to me, again, that suggests that he's not making those fouls because he's not having to. It's not getting to the point where he has to make that foul because he's already read the game so well. And what's important as well to mention as well is that I don't think he makes this improvement without the support of Joe Rodon next to him. And Joe Rodon has been fantastic this season, but just a little bit on him is that Pascal Struijk isn't a very fast centre-back, but that's why he has to read the game. But every now and again, there will be a quick winger or a quick striker that gets in behind Pascal Struijk, and then it's Rodon's job to cover that, and Rodon does that really well. So that helps and really complements Pascal's game as well. Now, the next thing we're talking about is progressive carries and progressive passes. Now, his progressive passes, progressive carries 0.73 per 90, which puts him in the 68th percentile. So just above average in the top sort of top 30%-ish of defenders in similar situations. He is the one for Leeds who actually will look up, and you'll see him sometimes. He looks up, he has a look round, and he goes, okay, I can carry on bringing this out a little bit, and then you might have an Ampadu will drop in, or Byron will go forward and make room for him, and it gets Leeds up the pitch, and like I said at the start, that's what Farke is doing to put his faith in Pascal to bring Leeds up the pitch, and Pascal's doing a really good job at it. His progressive passes as well, this is one that's really impressive for me, 5.6 per 90, which puts him in the 95th percentile, so he's in the top 5% of players that have been compared to him for progressive passes. And that is, if you don't know, a progressive pass is a pass that goes forwards towards the opposition goal more than 10 yards, and I think it has to go over the halfway line as well, potentially, something like that. But it's just a way of measuring the fact that he's getting the ball forward. You'll see a lot of defenders, they'll get the ball, they'll have a look up, they'll go, okay, I'm going to go to my other centre-back, and Pascal does that a fair share as well, but you have to do that. But the difference between the top passing centre-backs in a division like the Championship and just a solid centre-back is that they go forward as well. When they see the opportunity, they go forward as well. Pascal's long passes leave a little bit to be desired. They're not fantastic, and he's quite a bit down there for that one. But his medium and short range passes are fantastic. So let's go to his completion rate first. Passes completed 72 per 90, which puts him in the 98th percentile, so top 2%. Passes attempted puts him in 81 per 90. That's in the 99th percentile, so he's obviously dominating the ball so much from the back. His pass completion rate is 89%, which is really, really good, considering what we had as our pass completion rate as a whole team and a whole squad under Jesse Marsh and the last year. That is a massive, massive improvement, and Farke's done that so quickly, and obviously a big part of that coming out from the back is somebody like Pascal Struijk having an 89% completion rate, puts him in the 92nd percentile, so top 8%. Again as well, total passing distance, 1,340.8 yards, which puts him in the 98th percentile, and then his passing distance, 457.87. That's progressive passing distance. Yards puts him in the 93rd percentile, so again, top 7%. He's been fantastic at getting that ball forward. I won't labour all the statistics, but there isn't many statistics for passing where he's under 90th percentile, so he's pretty much in the top 10 to 15%, sometimes in the top 2 or 3% of all passes from the back. Also, passing into the final third, he's really good for as well. 5.2 passes into the final third per 90. That's really, really good. So that's his main thing is now that he's reading the game. And as well as reading the game, he's passing the ball and he's carrying the ball forward. And I suppose that actually does come into reading the game as well. The fact that he can look up and he can see gaps and he can see a way to move the ball forward. That is reading the game because he knows what's going to happen next, and he's thinking 1 or 2 steps ahead, which is something that comes with footballing maturity and footballing intelligence. And Pascal Struijk is certainly developing that. When we look at his defending, tackles, 1.53 per 90, puts him in the 63rd percentile, and that kind of bears out what I was saying before. He doesn't have to make the tackles that often, but when he does, most of the time, he gets them right, and that puts him in the 73rd percentile for his tackles won, 1.07 per 90. And he makes most of his tackles, actually, because Leeds are so dominant, in the midfield third. In the defensive third, he only makes 0.8 tackles per 90, which puts him in the 38th percentile, which is really quite low. But it's because Leeds are so dominant. And when you actually look at his tackles in the middle third and the final third, that's in the 86th percentile and the 73rd percentile, respectively. So he's actually making all of his tackles a lot higher up the pitch. And as well, his one-on-one defending has improved massively. Percentage of dribblers tackled, 81.3%. So times where someone's actually tried to get the ball and go past him, he's tackled 81.3% of the time, and that puts him in the 96th percentile. And he barely loses any challenges in that area. But yeah, in general, his possession and his ability to read the game are the things that have improved the most so far this season. And also, Daniel Farke's faith in him to give him the captaincy, and I personally am so happy for Pascal Struijk getting back into the swing of things, becoming again one of the best defenders in the Championship. And I wish him a speedy recovery with his hernia operation, which he's already had now. And I wish to see him in the starting 11 as soon as possible, because I think he's been, like I say, absolutely great this season, and certainly somebody that if we did get promoted, you would like to see them flourish and continue. And I think maybe last time we went up, he was a little bit young, but he's got that experience now. He's 24. He's still got a couple of years until he's in his prime. Maybe 27, 28 for a defender, so maybe 3 or 4 years before he's really in his prime. So he's got plenty of time to improve even more. So for me, Pascal, excellent defender, excellent player, seems like a really nice guy. And yeah, I just wanted to make a video about him, to be honest. It's international break, so there's not much on. And I thought, do you know what? I've been thinking about this for a while and how Pascal's a really good player, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of him. So yeah, if you like this video, if you like this style of video, or if you want to talk about it in general down below, then get commenting and make sure you hit that big red button down below to subscribe to the channel, because we're trying to hit 10k by the end of the season. I know it's a big ask, but yeah. Also, check out Dream Teams from this Wednesday just gone with Joe Wainman from Just Joe Football Show, and there will be another one that I'm recording tomorrow that will be going out on Wednesday at 5. So make sure you hit that notification bell as well, so you're notified every time I upload. There will be a Dream Teams episode every Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and a lot of people have been enjoying them, so make sure you be there or be square. Thanks for watching Leeds Lately, and I'll see you in the next one.